VGRT Gaming Podcast. Actually, hold on. Let me make sure that this is going. There we are. No, wait. Play. Yeah, definitely. Okay. VGRT Gaming Podcast, episode 746, recorded on March 5th, 2025.
Hello, and welcome to the 746th edition of the TD Gaming Podcast and 579th episode of Video Game Roundtable. I am TJ Dunzer.
I am Scott Dirk.
I am Jonah Falcon.
The VGRT Gaming Podcast focuses on game news from around the industry.
Yeah, so a few things have happened in the past 2 weeks. Just a few things. Let's get back to stuff that was 2 weeks ago. Microsoft has announced their next generation Xbox for 2026 and promises the largest technical leap. That is news we passed over because we couldn't do it. So yeah. So much for Microsoft just wanting to be multi-platform. That's not happening. I mean, getting out of the console business. What it tells me, here's the thing. We're making a lot more multi-platform releases. But let me give you an example of one of the games that we're going to be talking about. It's going to be on every console imaginable, but it's going to be on Game Pass. So everybody else is going to be paying for it, but Xbox users are going to be able to, hey, it's on Game Pass. No barrier to entry. So I think they're making it more attractive. Also, you know what? I think Microsoft is setting it up so that, oh, you want to play Grand Theft Auto 6? Well, guess what? Our machine is going to be able to do it in 60 frames. Theirs can't. And we already know that the PS5, PS6 won't be able to do it because we already know the specs for that. So it's a very interesting strategy. I mean, if Microsoft comes out and says, hey, you can play Grand Theft Auto 6 at 60 frames, that's going to be like a bombshell.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it feels like the gaming industry is like in this state right now where a lot of things are kind of circulating around what Grand Theft Auto 6 does. And I mean with good reason. It's probably one of the most anticipated games in a long time.
I gotta say, I haven't even thought of Grand Theft Auto 6. I've been watching Threads of Time, Seeds of Nostalgia, all these indie games. I completely forget about Grand Theft Auto 6.
You know what the meme is, right? The meme is blank is going to come out after Grand Theft Auto 6. That's the meme right now.
Plank?
Blank will come out after
whatever game it is. It's going to come out after Grand Theft Auto 6 is the meme.
Oh, okay.
And also the meme of someone coming up in the Game Awards episode where to say, when is Grand Theft Auto 6 coming?
When it's ready.
It's almost as bad as Silk Song. I mean, those are the two games that everybody says, where's Silk Song? Where's Grand Theft Auto? Wondering what the hell is going on with Silk Song. It's not like Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to require a whole new technology. It's just more Hollow Knight.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Silk Song. Team Cherry is pretty quiet on that front.
Yeah.
So, before we go on, let's talk about what we've been playing. I'll make mine very simple. I've been playing more of Foundation. I'm starting to get more into it, but it's sort of that way. You know how you are with sometimes with a city builder game in which you start, and then you have to stop and say, oh, I should have done that. And then you start all over. You know, like when you first play SimCity or City Skylines, you're like, oh, I made a mistake. Well, wipe that city off the map. Let's try again.
Yeah, that game, like I've played only a little bit of it, but it was really fun when I had a chance at it.
The only problem I have with it's very janky.
It is. It really is. But the amount of stuff that you can do with your village is pretty great.
I finally was able to make tools for the first time.
Nice. Those are good for.
By the way, I got an achievement, and it was a broken achievement that it was giving to everybody, in which you had a villager who was 150% happiness. I'm thinking, how is that? You're 150% happy? What are you doing? Running around the thing going, here's some flowers, I'm so happy!
Oh, that's a pretty high number.
Yeah, but then I was sad to hear that, it's a bug. But I got a free achievement out of it. Oh, well. There's one game that I want to play. I haven't bought yet, and it came out either today. Came out in the last few days, and that's 2 Point Museum. I really want to play it, but I'm waiting for the PC version to come out on the Windows Store. I prefer to play that game with a keyboard and mouse. I know it's on the Xbox, but I'd rather play it on PC. Have either of you played 2 Point Museum yet?
No, I haven't.
I have.
It does look nice.
I reviewed that game. It's really great.
It's, I mean, I like the concept a lot more than Campus, and a hell of a lot more than Hospital, actually.
Yeah, it's the theming of the museums. Like, we've had theming in 2 Point before with Campus and like the different classes that you could do, but museum is on another level. Like, it takes that idea to a great level where, like, you don't have to build assigned rooms for your museum so much as you need to design the flowing experience for your visitors.
I mean, that's sort of, it's sort of like taking Campus and Hospital and merging them together, because in Hospital, it's all about the visitors, right? And in Campus, it's all about teaching the students, but it's not so much as the flow as it is just teaching the students. So it's taking them and mashing them together. So you have the educational experience and you have the customer in one thing.
Yeah, and every museum's theming has different gameplay mechanics to it. So, like with the Sea Museum, you build aquariums and you build them to suit certain types of fish. You'll get like fish that need temperate waters or warm waters to survive, or they'll have like needs of different kinds of food. They can't be in a tank with certain other kinds of fish, or they'll get angry at each other. And it's like you build based on the exhibits that you get and the requirements that come out of them, but every museum kind of has its own different styles of requirements. The supernatural one is cool too, because you eventually end up getting ghosts, and the ghosts need their own specter rooms, and those rooms need to be like designed and decorated to the taste of the ghost, or else the ghost will get really mad and freak out and run around your museum scaring people and leaving slime everywhere. And like I really love how they upped their mechanical game a lot, to where like each staging area that you work on has an interesting and fun set of rules to make it work.
Yeah, and at some point you'll have to have Robin Williams come around. Ben Stiller.
Well, they
Ben
still got
Stiller's
Sonic.
Night Watchman.
They still got Sonic costumes because of the Sega tie-in.
Yeah, the thing. Yeah. Everybody's dressed in a Sonic or costume, or his Tails or his Shadow, and you have the Sonic. Yeah. One of the best things is that the base game, if you don't want the extra stuff, is only $30. It's half a price game, really, which is nice. So you're getting, there's probably going to be DLC for more things, but the base game is only $30, which is nice.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's a pretty affordable little game.
So how about you, Scott? What have you been playing?
Well, I have been playing Trials of Daybreak. I've been making my way through that game. And I also got a chance to play the Indiana Jones Circle game.
How'd you enjoy playing the Raiders of the Lost Ark at the beginning?
Yeah, that was interesting. I got to run around a lake area finding little treasures in an ancient ruin, so that was fun.
I like the fact they got Alfred Molina just almost right.
Yeah, and it's a really beautiful cinematic game too. It's like the ray tracing is great.
And Troy Baker is impeccable. He sounds exactly like Harrison Ford.
Oh yeah, I definitely feel that I'm playing as Indiana Jones. And it's nice seeing Tony Todd as well.
Yeah. He passed away before the game came out, too.
Yeah. He's a giant in that game. He's like 2 times the height of Indy.
Yeah. I had to realize that the giants are actually the Nephilim that were spoken of in the Bible. Yeah, and let's do a little bit of spoilers. I was not expecting it, but I should have. That the mystical artifact in this game's case is Noah's Ark, which was a surprise to me. I did not see that coming.
Why would you give me spoilers like that, Jonah? I don't
really?
understand. Yeah, I had no clue that that was
I thought you
happening.
finished it.
No, I just started. I just played a little bit.
Here's the thing. Don't worry about it. I seriously don't worry about it, because the rest of the game is and here's the thing. Not all of it is all these huge open worlds. There's one scene in which it's like go right through and that's it. You know? But yeah, but here's the thing. The fact that it's Noah's Ark tells you nothing about what's going to happen in the game. Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. But and I think TJ noticed this too. One of the best things about it is that this is one first-person shooter in which you do not want to use your gun. I almost never used my gun at all. Because you use your gun, everybody hears it. Oh, he's over there.
Yeah, it's more about stealth.
Yeah. And every time that little camera icon pops up, snap that photo.
Yep.
That's what I also like about the game is that just it's a lot of people, now think, you know what, they should just do a CGI indie film and use Troy Baker.
I mean, it could happen, yeah.
I mean, why trot out Harrison Ford out there when you can just have a CGI film with Troy Baker doing his voice? And the plot is a lot better than the other ones too. I mean, would you rather watch this as a movie, or would you rather watch what's it called? It's Crystal Skull or the Dial of Atlantis? Yeah.
I like the Dial of Destiny. That was fun.
Yeah, but it's kind of painful having to watch CGI'd Harrison Ford, and then since he's so old, he can't do any of the stunts. You have to have other people do it. Yeah. We're gonna move on. So, Scott, you've been all over this. Tell us about Suikoden 1 and 2 Remaster.
So that's coming out today. As of this recording, it'll be out in a few hours. Everybody will have it. And of course, they've updated the backgrounds and a lot of the special effects. They've updated some of the translation text because some of the words were misspelled and whatnot. They've added some quality of life, like you can do diagonal movement, and there's I think a speed up, and it just looks gorgeous. They've updated that game, but they also had a showcase for it, and they were talking about the different steps they wanted to do to build up the Suikoden comeback. And then the step 2 was, step 1 was the remasters. Step 2 is quite a lot. It's first of all a anime which is going to be based on Suikoden 2, and I'm not sure how long it's going to be, how many episodes, but they're going to, have a Ryu, named. I don't know if it'll be Ryu or a different name, but it'll be animated. You'll be able to see all the stuff he does. And then there's a mobile game that has gacha, but it is going to take place between Suikoden's 5 and 1. So it's a bit of a prequel.
By the way, the Suikoden anime is going to be based on Suikoden 2.
Yes. And the game will then be on mobile phone, at least at the start. Hopefully we'll see if it goes outside of Japan and gets ported to anything else. But it has war battles, it has 2D pixel graphics, and it looks good, and it's free to play. So hopefully the gameplay will allow you to play the story without too much predatory forcing you to buy, stuff that you don't need.
I assume you're buying it on Switch?
If it comes out on Switch, sure.
It is coming out because the Switch reviews have been coming out and they've been raving about it.
Oh, you're talking about the remaster. The remaster I'm going to get on Steam.
Oh, Steam. Okay. Yeah. By the way, the remaster sort of looks like the new stuff that's been coming out, like Sea of Stars and.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
It has the same art style, that really nice background with these 2D, 3D characters running around on it.
Yeah, the mobile game is Star Leap. That's the other game that's coming out. And they're also doing a play set on Suikoden 1. It'll only be in Japan, but it's like a 3-hour play There's also a symphony that they're starting up, and there's a manga that'll be like a companion to the Starleap game that'll be the story of Starleap. So it's quite the huge lineup of stuff for Step 2.
By the way, speaking of Sudican, you know what's getting its 30th anniversary this year, right?
I think that was the Tsukuden one.
No, Persona, 30th anniversary.
Okay.
And they're doing a remake of that one too.
I keep hearing they do all these remakes for Persona.
Yeah, and there are also Persona 6 rumors as well. Shin Megami Tensei is also getting an anniversary edition as well. So, yeah, people are still anxiously waiting for Persona 6. Next year is going to be the 30th anniversary of Persona. So it's a good chance we'll have a new Persona game next year as well. TJ, are you looking forward to Persona 6?
I'm still playing through Metaphor Refantasio, and that game is like 100 hours long, and I really want to explore like everything because the characters.
Yeah, I haven't purchased it yet because I don't want to have that time thing. Oh yeah, I finished. I'm going through Avowed as well. I almost forgot about that.
That sounds like me with Daybreak. It's hundreds of hours.
You know what else? I shouldn't have done it, but I did it because everybody kept talking about it, and I wanted to see what the hubbub was about. I didn't say this. Obviously, I was talking about 2 Point Museum, but I also started Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Okay.
And, like, that game feels like it's going to be massive and take tons and tons of hours as well, but, like, it's so beautiful. I didn't realize how good those folks are at designing an environment, but like, man, that world is just nice to walk around in. It's so fun. I love it. There's also a skill tree entirely dedicated to drinking and another skill tree entirely dedicated to brawling. And so I have plans for the way my character is going to be in this game.
Yeah, I finally got to the first big reveal of Avowed. Sorry, I'm not going to tell you what it is, Scott, so you can relax.
Thank you.
But I've gotten to a point in which combat is really, really involved, and it said, yeah, you thought you were playing a first-person RPG. No, you're playing Dark Souls now. Because everything is, you don't have a dodge roll, but you do have block, counter, dodge, count, block. So you have the yellow block, red dodge, that sort of stuff, and it's sort of like. But here's the difference: in Dark Souls, you don't get bum rushed. Here you get bum rushed. You can have 8 of them, and 6 of them are going to be going right at you, and it's sort of like. And picture trying to do that, and having Dark Souls combat at the same time. If you're not, what's it called? You better have a bunch of health potions, or else you're just going to down. So, but on the other hand, near the end, from what I understand, I haven't encountered it. You'll find some weapons that will actually heal you a third of your health every time you swing at somebody, and it's sort of like, yeah, that's broken. And I think, yeah, that's the entire point. That's what I want at that point. I want to be broken. I want to be a god. I'm a godlike. Well, guess what? I want to be a godlike. So I'm looking forward to that. Like I said, that's not from personal experience. That's just from what I heard. So yeah, the other thing I was not expecting for Avowed is all the jump puzzles, first-person jump puzzles, which is as fun as it sounds. That is not. So when you play, Scott, just be prepared for jump puzzles. First-person jump puzzles.
I like puzzles.
Also, whenever you go to sleep, this entity talks to you, and it's sort of like asking you all about your lives. It's sort of like a choose your own adventure. I get the impression all my answers are going to come back to haunt me later. It's sort of like it's getting your personality profile. Wasn't it? Was it Silent Hill 2 that had the personality profile? I know one of the Silent Hills actually had a personality profile that it would ask you questions, and whatever you answered, it would come back to haunt you later on in the game. I think maybe it was one of the handheld Silent Hill games. But anyways, yeah,
That was
there's
the,
an
that was the I think that was the Nintendo or the Wii U game. Oh gosh, you,
memories.
you're playing like James, or you're playing like Harry Mason in a therapy session, reliving his memories of it.
Yeah.
And by the end of the game, the choices you make through the reliving of it affect the ending.
But in this case, it's a little more. It's sort of like, and then they did this to you. Why? And you could say because I just couldn't stand anymore, or I felt I needed to do this for the people, or I just didn't care anymore. All these answers that are sort of like I get the distinct impression like I'm on the psychiatrist's couch, being asked a question on a Rorschach test. So we'll see if it. But Scott, what were the little furry people? Because I have one of those in my party now.
The little what now?
The little furry.
Orlons.
Yeah, so I have one of those in my party now.
Okay, cool.
She's a magic user, and she's very flirty. Thing is, I know this from all the things that you don't actually have a romance in Avowed, so it's all talk. I still enjoy walking around with Garrus, the fish guy. He's called Kai in the game. So now I have to play Pillars of Eternity. I started a long time ago because I backed it, and now I have to try it again. So, yeah. So we're going to move on to quick news. First item is City Skylines to Asset Editor remains a distant dream. Colossal Order is still working on it, and it says it's proven more technically challenged than initially anticipated, and there's still no release date for the Asset Editor or the console version of City Skylines 2. So yeah, this launch has been one big, and it's not even, you can't even consider it a launch anymore since it's been a year since it was released. This has been one big fuck up.
It is bizarre to me how many issues they've had for themselves in post-launch. Like just how many things they've had to fix in the year. It's been like more than a year since that game came out at this point.
I'm starting to think what's going on with Paradox Interactive, because we had this with their Sims type game. They had to cancel it. It's like something's going on there, and I don't know what. Things are just not being baked right there.
Yeah, it's hard to say because like it just looks like it's every time that we've heard from them recently, it's been to fix a new, and it's either to apologize for something that was broken or having to fix something that really like feels like it never should have been an issue in the first place if everything was going all right.
Yeah, I haven't touched City Skylines in a few months now because just the graphics issues. And I was really having a lot of fun with it until they updated, and then something just switched and just decided to go crazy on me because I was really getting into it. But now, now I have a Foundation, and it's sort of like my mind is taken. Also, I've gotten back into sort of what's the name of that game? Against the Storm. So those are two city games that have my attention right now. That City Skylines is like a distant memory right now. I'll probably get back into it at some point because it's City Skylines, and sometimes I just want to make the city. But right now, I just don't feel the need to go back to it.
Yeah, like at this point, like, what would it even do? What would even matter if they were to like solve everything and get everything working right? Because like at this point, people have been waiting on this for a long time. I think that like when you look at something like Cyberpunk 2077, like
that was because they decided. That's because they started on PC and ported it to console.
But like either way, they worked feverishly to like get that to a state where like once you got to like, I think it was patch 1.02 or maybe more than that, but like they got to a certain point, and probably around the same time the Edge Runners show came out, where they had fixed everything that was so bad and broken about the release.
Phantom Liberty was announced that they got things fixed.
And then like they eventually won people's trust back, but bit by bit by fixing the game. But like City Skylines, I don't even know what you gain at this point by continuing to work on something that people have just almost. It's been rough. It's been rough for that game.
I'm getting the impression that they want to get the console release perfect because that's where all the money is going to be made. So, and I can understand them wanting to lead develop it on PC because there you go. But you have to be careful when you do that, because all PCs are not built the same. And the CD Projekt Red found that out with Cyberpunk.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild to see like just how much of a bumpy road this game has been on, even a year after it's been out.
Yeah. So Western Digital decided they're not going to be doing SSDs. They're just going to stick with mechanical hard drives, and they gave all of their SSD assets to SanDisk. So, not that not earth-shattering news, but it is interesting. Western Digital I've used a lot. SanDisk I've used a lot. But SanDisk usually on those little micro, things you put in your camera or your cell phone.
Yeah.
Not
SD or micro SD.
So we'll see. I mean, it's interesting news. I don't know how it's going to affect anything. But Western Digital has always had quality products, so I'm sort of disappointed in that from that regard. So I can always trust a Western Digital hard drive.
Yeah, I've never used a Western Digital. I've been using Samsung for most of the time I've had an external hard drive.
Naughty Dog boss says, "Don't bet on there being a Last of Us Part 3." I say, okay, good. There's just so much emo I can take.
It's strange too, because like it wasn't that long ago. In fact, it was in February of 2024 that he was saying that he had penned up ideas for another story that would have followed Tommy.
Yeah, I think they just decided to go with a TV series because they're starting a new season of The Last of Us. So I think they've decided, you know what, making a TV show is easier than making a video game. So let's just make the TV show.
Maybe so. I don't know. It just seems odd that they would like. Because if what he's saying is correct, he straight up said, "Don't bet. This might be it." And when he says this might be it, he's talking about season 2 of the show. So he's saying that like there might not be any more Last of Us after that, regardless whether it's in TV or in games. It's very interesting in that case that like we might never know what that last story he wrote for Tommy
Here's
was.
the thing, though. There's just so much you can do with The Last of Us, really. It's like the Revenge of the Dead, what's it called, the Return of the Living Dead movies. There's just so many times you can do that story.
Yeah, but but like that's what kind of
made me
interested.
Punk girl, a punk undead girl in The Last of Us 3.
Well, but that's what made me interested in the possibility of a Last of Us 3 was the idea that they might follow Tommy, because Tommy was still pretty surly at the end of The Last of Us 2, but his fate was kind of just like left to the wayside. So I don't know. If they did go with it, that seems like it would be an interesting story to tell. But sounds like they're not about to for a while.
Yeah, just here's the other thing. Naughty Dog doesn't really. They've always gone from IP to IP to IP. They just keep on making new ones as they go along. It's funny because every generation they've generally done a new IP, right? Like first it was Crash, it was Uncharted, now it's The Last of Us. Oh, and yeah, and Jak and Daxter.
Man, I miss Jak and Daxter.
Yeah, that was a good series.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess they're just going to move on to something new after this. If they, I can't imagine Naughty Dog goes away, but like, I'm curious to know what happens after season 2 of The Last of Us.
Here's the thing: they did Crash Bandicoot from '96 to '99. They did Jak and Daxter from 2001 to 2005. They did Uncharted from 2000 to 2017, and in the middle of that, they had The Last of Us. Really, the one thing that actually they do have a new property. It's going to be called Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet. So I guess that's their new IP.
Right.
Maybe they just
You're right.
Screw The Last of Us.
I completely forgot about that game. I am interested to see more of that.
You know, it's interesting to me. One of the composers is Trent Reznor.
Yeah.
And that's the only way I knew about Trent Reznor was when I first bought Quake back in the day, and it had Trent Reznor, and also Atticus Ross. He's worked with. He was in 9 Inch Nails too, so it's not a big surprise. Yeah. They said that Intergalactic is going to be more like a TV show. So maybe they're doing the Remedy thing in which they're going to make their video game like a TV show that's live. That's what Remedy just gave up with. What was the last game they made that was in that universe? Geez, I forgot the name. Quantum Break. It's sort of like, yeah, this is a TV show. You're playing a TV show. Yeah, we had a little TV. We had a little TV in Alan Wake. And then in Control became more, and now in Quantum Break, yeah, it's all TV show now.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Naughty Dog wants to do some of that too. Make a video game that pretends it's a TV show.
Yeah.
Except this time it's a sci-fi TV show. So we're gonna move on to game news, and this news is gonna make you happy, I'm pretty sure, TJ. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4 official announcement reveals deluxe edition with Doomslayer. By the way, the Doomslayer was actually in Tony Hawk 3, so it's not something that's new. I don't know why they would act like it's something special. After plenty of whispers and speculation, today Activision confirmed what we were all hoping for. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 are back and getting remade from the ground up, just like 1 and 2 were. The upcoming combined remake will feature new chapters, so that's Tayshaun Jones actually spoiled it, as well as gnarlier tricks and even sicker soundtrack. They have to have a new soundtrack because they don't have the rights to the old one. The trailer, by the way, used Ace of Spades by Motorhead. That's a good choice. And for the first time in 10 years, a brand new parks. The soundtracks will include original songs from the game, such as Ace of Spades by Motorhead, as well as tracks will capture the spirit of skate culture, of modern skate culture. So hip-hop and rap. Sure. The game will also boast cross-platform online multiplayer for up to 8 players. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 will be released on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series SX, PC via Steam, Battle.net, and Microsoft Store, and Nintendo Switch on the 11th of July. It's also coming to Game Pass. And this is what I was talking about before. It's coming on all these platforms, but guess what? PC and Xbox players can just play it immediately on Game Pass if they want to. So, and I know the question that's on your lips, TJ Denzer, who developed this one? The answer is Iron Galaxy, which I will give them the benefit of the doubt for because they also had the unenviable task of taking over for Killer Instinct and did a bang-up job on that. So, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. And from the trailer, it looks great.
It's... like Iron Galaxy, they had some layoffs recently, so I was concerned about them. And I love what Iron Galaxy does. Between Killer Instinct and Rumbleverse, I really loved Rumbleverse, and it broke my heart when that game ended. But to see them back in the saddle and working on Tony Hawk is pretty dope.
From the ground up too.
I'm curious to see if there will be any noticeable difference in feel between Iron Galaxy building this game from the ground up and Vicarious Visions building the game from the ground up.
Here's the thing. Iron Galaxy was not the first people to do Killer Instinct. They had to take over from someone else. I forgot who it was. And the people that did it, the first did, worked with the original people who developed Killer Instinct. And then Iron Galaxy came in and they talked to the previous developer and the original people. So I want to bet you anything that Iron Galaxy did speak to and confer with Vicarious Visions people about what they were doing. Because that's what they did with Killer Instinct, that I can't imagine they wouldn't do it also with this game.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see because, you're right. They are sort of growing that reputation for taking over from somebody else and, pushing it to a higher level. Because I think, and for what I saw, a lot of people just absolutely adored Killer Instinct Season 2, which is where...
And 3.
Yeah.
And people who just want another Killer Instinct, then it's like, and Galaxy's available, come on, make another Killer Instinct. And I don't know. It's like, I don't know if Microsoft's given up on that IP. It's unfortunate if they have. I mean, you talk about a live service. I mean, there are people who are just, their fighting game is Killer Instinct. Period. End of story.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see this happen because I think a lot of people were like, "Well, it looks like no more Tony Hawk." Now, when we saw that Vicarious Visions was kind of folded up,
I just realized the true challenge will be for them to remaster Tony Hawk 5.
They can skip that one. They can just move right on to Tony Hawk's Underground because...
Yeah, I was about to say they can do actually Underground plus 5. It'll be interesting to see. Hey,
nobody needs Tony Hawk 5 again. That is not a thing that needs to come back. There is no good reason to remake that game.
Are you excited over the 8-player cross-platform multiplayer?
Yeah, because that's dope as hell. Like, as far as I'm concerned, multiplayer and Tony Hawk, simultaneous multiplayer where people get to all skate around in the same part. I've seen some competitions with that, and boy howdy, you are seeing like 8 different people pull off crazy multi-million point tricks around the same map. It's a little bit chaotic, but it's also like just absolutely phenomenal cool. So I'm interested to see that expanded in this next game.
One thing that we sort of buried the lead on, and that is it's going to be on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So it's going to be on last gen too. So a lot of people are not going to be left out.
Yeah, that was an odd one because we're very, 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 very late into PS5 and Xbox Series at this point, to the point where like I don't expect a game to have PS4 or Xbox One on it anymore. I just don't. It's like, how far did we go with? How far did we get into the PS4 era and Xbox One era with them still making Xbox 360 and PS3 games?
I mean, let me think. You know, Madden went deep past the original Xbox. I think they went as far as 2009 with the Xbox, original Xbox Madden games. So sports games tend to come real. They stick with older consoles a lot longer because a lot of sports gamers, you know, they like graphics. They just prefer the gameplay. So I'm thinking, you know, I'm pretty sure most Tony Hawk players will say, "Oh, those are nice graphics," but what kind of sick moves can I make? You know, I think they care less about graphics and more about gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you know, you can have your friends on their old PlayStation 4 playing with you on your PlayStation 5 if you want. You know, it's pretty cool that way. It's going to come in the 11th of July, which is going to be smack dab in the middle of summer. So hopefully they'll show some more videos because I know you probably have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I'm interested to see a lot of stuff from this game. They talked about a little bit about new levels and new music too. Like, and I know we mentioned the music as a little bit, but like I really dug the 1+2 soundtrack. Not just the returning tracks. Like, you can't have that game without Superman by Goldfinger, but the new stuff that they put on there from like more contemporary bands was fun to listen to as well. I liked mixing that into the old stuff. So I'm really, really excited to see what they do with the new soundtrack, because the soundtracks of Tony Hawk are kind of a huge part of Tony Hawk.
Yeah. So we'll see if they do Underground, remaster Underground. Yeah, wasn't there? I could swear there was something else before after Underground, but before Tony Hawk 5.
They had this one where it was like it was
Proving Ground. They had Underground 1, Underground 2, American Wasteland, Project 8, and Proving Ground.
They also had that. They also had that absolutely horrible Tony Hawk's Pro Skater Ride, where you had the peripheral little board that you had to stand on and try to.
That was I believe it was Ride.
Yeah, that's what I said.
They also did Downhill Jam, which was The first Tony Hawk game, by the way, I played was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2X for the original Xbox.
Mm-hmm. Those games are so good.
What?
Those games are so good.
Yeah. So let me see if I can find some other information about it. Where is it? Not much other information. There will be a demo for all platforms except for the Switch.
Yeah.
People will get to try it out beforehand. Anyways, like I said, this is a first-party game by Microsoft, but they're just doing it multi-platform, and they're just hinging on the fact that you can. There will be July 8th in early access, and they're just trying to make the Game Pass much more attractive. You know, why have exclusivity when you can make money? And for people who on Xbox and PC who might complain, just say, hey, if you have Game Pass, just play it. It's yours. So, there's going to be a digital deluxe edition and a collector's edition.
Nice.
So here's the thing. The collector's edition is going to come with a full-size birdhouse skateboard deck. The only thing it won't come with are truck's wheels and a grip tape. It looks pretty nice. It's a black and white eagle. Or a hawk, I guess. Yeah. Anyways, we're going to move on to the next time. Go ahead, TJ.
Okay. All right. Call of Duty admits it's using generative AI to help develop some in-game assets from PC Gamer. After months of players calling foul at suspected AI art in Call of Duty, Activision has admitted it's using generative AI to make assets for its billion-dollar franchise. This revelation comes not from a formal statement issued by the company, but a Valve-mandated AI disclosure now found at the bottom of the Call of Duty Steam page.
By the way, let's stop there for a moment. Valve has been very busy lately with this sort of stuff, haven't they?
Yes, they have. So, like, your game has to disclose whether it uses AI assets in Valve anymore. So
they also have it in which if something's been in early access and there's been no thing from the developer, there's gonna be a big banner saying, "Warning: this game's been abandoned."
Yeah, and so like, and one of the things that was before that thing that you just brought up was that like if a game uses AI assets, it has to add a disclaimer at the bottom. So that's the thing where like Activision didn't even want to fucking address this. They had to because fucking Steam made them address it. That's
we're people are a lot more observant than most, and they can tell when something's been done by AI.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on with the article.
Let's see here. For some time now, our Call of Duty players suspected that Activision is using AI to generate cosmetics in Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 6. Last year, a Wired report called out a calling card included in the $15 Yokai's Wrath bundle. Then, in the weeks after Black Ops 6's historically successful launch, players noticed obvious signs of generative AI and holiday-themed loading screen. Notice the six-fingered zombie. There's a six-fingered zombie, and another hand with perhaps too many digits promoting zombies.
Zombies bubblegum.
Zombies gobblegum, and several glaring oddities with the sexy hard breakup calling card. Disappointingly, I just grinded for an AI-generated calling card, wrote Reddit user
Dunkus. That's a Homestar Runner reference.
That's the
name of Strongman's dinosaur.
Fair enough. I didn't know that one.
Yeah.
Homestar lore on this week's episode. I had heard of a cool pinup style calling card for completing this challenge, but I wasn't expecting to find out after trying to figure out what was supposed to be on her belt. Surprise, just shapeless artifacts of a neural network image generator, that there are glaring hallmarks of an unrefined AI generated image. It's worth noting.
Yeah, by the way, there's also a thing on her right arm that went to nowhere. That was another big sign it was generated.
Yeah. It's worth noting that other than the Yokai's Wrath bundle sold last year, these suspected AI art pieces are non-paid promotional materials or a profile banner that you can earn for free. It's also worth noting that Activision Blizzard laid off 1,900 humans in 2023.
Yeah. By the way, there's been more layoffs. Sony just laid off more of their live service team. I think it was called Virtual PlayStation, something like that. So yeah, there's been a lot of firings in the tech industry lately.
Yeah, quite a bit, like through even these first 2 months of this year.
Here's the problem. The pandemic happened, and it made people think, oh, you know what? Let's spend more because people seem to be playing video games more. Well, no shit, they're playing video games more. They can't go out.
Mhm.
That's why people played more live service games, because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah,
And that's why Harvest Moon was so popular. It came out at the right time. And oh my God, people can go out again. Yeah, people can play less video games. It's sort of like it reminds me of the mobile boom that was between the Xbox. It was between the Xbox 360, the Xbox One, PlayStation 3, and PlayStation 4, in which mobile games had a boom in popularity. The reason for that was that people were tired of the old consoles and are waiting for a new console. And when good new consoles came out, guess what? They stopped playing mobile games. So the billion-dollar mobile industry never materialized. Well, that's not entirely true. They found out how to monetize it with gacha and gambling, but still, they haven't usurped console games. Sony and Microsoft are doing a good job doing that all by themselves. So yeah, people are getting fired because they overestimated everything.
Yep. And now we got AI Call of Duty.
Did you see I think Activision had made a promo for Crash Bandicoot Brawl.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, so the other thing that Activision had been doing was making these fake mashup things and then asking people what they thought of it. Like, they had a Crash Bandicoot fighting game that was sort of like Smash, Crash Bandicoot Smash, something like that, and they said, what do you think of this? Really badly done. It was kind of cheap.
Yeah, it just feels real lazy when these big companies do that, and they're just churning out automated stuff that's not even creative or anything with any soul or depth to it.
Here's the thing. Things like Crash Bandicoot Brawl and Call of Duty Zombie Defender and Guitar Hero Mobile, I don't mind it as much if they're just doing concept art and seeing what people think about it. It's not pre-selling the game. We've seen this millions of times before anyway, without the use of AI. That people are just throwing out concepts to see, hey, do you like it? I think that was probably, you know what? I'm going to tell you something. The Geek Store, what was it called? Think Geek, would do these April Fool's things, right? But if people really liked it, for some reason that April Fool's joke became a reality. Gee, I wonder how that happens. Because it's been done by Think Geek. They do an April Fool's joke, and if people say, "Oh, that's really cool. I wish it was real," then Think Geek will go, "Well, okay, we'll make it real." If people really want a Mario Brawl that's using Crash Bandicoot, hey, they really want it. Why not? I mean, people have tried. It's really sad that the Warner Brothers thing didn't pan out, because people really liked it, and then they fucked it all up. I don't know what happened. There has to be a reason why you'd suddenly go into hiatus for a year. I still don't get it. I mean, I thought I got it at the time, but in hindsight, it's sort of like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then I started thinking, oh, wait a minute, maybe this was the first sign of what Warner Brothers was going to do. Oh yeah, let's talk about that. That's another story that I forgot to put in the news, which is kind of big news, in which Warner Brothers shit-canned Monolith and shit-canned the Wonder Woman game that they were making.
Yeah. So now the fucking Nemesis system is just trapped in limbo with nobody to handle it because of fucking David Zaslav and David Haddad.
Yeah, and by the way, that's what I'm thinking. David Zaslav had something to do with the Looney Tunes Smash game. Something there, it wasn't making enough money, and they decided to cancel it for a year, bring it back, and then shit can it by saying, "Hey, no one's interested in it." Yeah, because you took it away for a year. I mean, I know you were enjoying it, TJ. What was it called? Toon Rumble? Bugs Bunny Rumble? What was the name of that game?
Which one?
The Tiny Toons Smash game. Not the Tiny Toons. I mean the Looney Tunes Smash game, which had Superman.
Multiverses.
Yeah, I mean, Multiverses was doing really well. And then for whatever reason, we're going to just take it off for a year. Right? Is it doing too well? It's not. Some of these assholes prefer you to be more valuable dead than alive. So I will never see the Wile E. Coyote movie, never see the Batgirl movie, never see the Wonder Woman game. And the only positive that I can think about is, actually, you know what? In hindsight, Microsoft, I wish you had bought WB Games. I wish you had bought WB Games.
It's a dang shame.
Yeah, you bought Activision instead. What were you thinking? Yeah, it's Call of Duty, but WB Games had developers like Monolith. But it wouldn't come with the IPs. But but the thing that makes that's a consolation is that the people who are in Monolith aren't going anywhere. They're just no longer part of WB. Hopefully, some smart publisher, Microsoft, Sony, somebody will grab those creatives and say, okay, make your own game. Take whatever assets you're using for Wonder Woman, take her face off, and make it some random woman, and boom, you have a new game.
Yeah, it's a damn shame that I feel like somebody's gonna have to sue WB to get the Nemesis system out from under them now, because it's criminal.
Does WB own it, or does Monolith own it? Because I think Monolith owns it, not WB.
Well, wouldn't WB own the patent then? Because it's their parent company.
I'm gonna find out this. So yeah, WB does own it, but what are they going to do with it? It's going to remain until
but it's somebody that can use it. Like they're not going to do anything with it
as long as someone pays them the fees, But here's the thing: they just want money. I mean, if Microsoft decides to get all the creatives of Monolith, and Microsoft tells WB, "Hey, we want to use the Nemesis system. We'll pay for it." What do you think WB's going to say? No, of course not. Yeah, give us money. It's free money. I don't know. Like I said, I hope people snap up to Monolith developers, because almost to a fail, every single one of their games, except maybe Contract Jack, has been at least very good. They did No One Lives Forever. No One Lives. Oh yeah, it is No One Lives Forever. No One Lives Forever. Tron 2.0. The Middle Earth games.
They did a lot of incredible stuff.
Let's look on what they did, because they've been around for a ding-dang long time. For 30 years. Thank you, WB. And they were only with WB Games for 21 years. So they did Blood. Did Get Medieval. They did Shogo Mobile Armor Division. They did AVP 2, which, by the way, you should try if you get around to it. What I did not know is they did The Matrix Online. They did Fear. They did Condemned. And they did the Middle Earth games. So, yeah, they also did Rage of Mages for as self-published. Yeah, they did a lot of games, and I know a lot of people who still love Shogo Mobile Armor Division. That's a '98 game. Yeah, it's a real bummer. I hope, like I said, I hope someone buys them. They deserve to have someone who loves them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna contact Phil Spencer, and say, hey, get those monolith guys. They know how to make the game.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like, why not sell that studio? Why just shut it down?
More money to dissolve it than it is to sell it.
Ugh, what a waste.
Yeah. Like I said, the people are still there, and if I hear news that Space Rock is formed from former Monolith developers, I see Kickstarter in their future. I see Kickstarter in their future. Game developed by a former Monolith developers. People, that thing will be backed within 2 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. Like I said, there's now there's another thing that I don't know if you can blame Zaslav for, but there's also the Uzumaki anime, and you could say that they rushed it out. But from the plots they did, it was never going to really work.
Mm.
3 chapters, because they kept on trying to smush all the chapters into 4 episodes. You can't do that. I'll have to send you a link of how funny one of the scenes is. Even if they had the best all the time in the world to do it, it still would have been hilarious. So, yeah, not many. This is a bad thing to stop on, but look for our show notes at gamingpodcast.net, along with this industry news and our gaming history articles. And we enjoy your feedback. Leave us comments on our blog at gamingpodcast.net. Also, hit us up at facebook.com/gamingpodcast. You can find our podcast everywhere. So wherever you see it, please leave a comment. Either it's on YouTube or iTunes or Podbean or, oh God, I got us on so many platforms. iHeartRadio. If you see us on iHeartRadio, please leave us a positive comment. Spotify. If you see us on Spotify, leave us a positive comment. Anyways, you can find me at Blue Sky on Twitter. Wait,
You can
what?
find me at Johnny-
Wait. What did I do? You can find me as Jonah Falcon on Blue Sky.
You find me at Johnny Chugs.
You can find me at Shard the Sage.
And we will see you next week, and hopefully we won't.
Happy gaming, everyone.
Have fun, be cool, play games, y'all.
Hopefully the United States will still be around by then. Bye.
That'd be nice.